Hey, welcome in Monday edition. 3 days a week, we're here with you. Matt Cherico, Harry Mays, I'm Eytan Shander. The three of us form Philly Voice Sports Bets. We don't ask much in return that you hang with us. And look, this is a recorded program, meaning we're not live at the same spot every time. Watch it at your leisure.
Leisure.
Right?
We are men of leisure.
We are.
Yes.
We just ask you hit the thumbs up button, you subscribe, and go from there. Interesting day, to say the least, to talk about in the NFL. We get that the college football bowl season, however, is winding down. We have four big ones to talk about. I'm actually most excited about that than everything else. So let's look back. Stuff that went right, stuff that went wrong. We'll recap the Philadelphia Eagles as well, and then just please turn the page to what should be a really good football day, including this Monday Night Football game. So I'll start. Short and sweet for me. The best of the best was this field goal prop that's now hit 8 straight times plus money. It hit again last night. My God, we even went on a heat check and played the Lions and Bears earlier in the day. That hit on a field goal at the end of it. I can't get enough of this prop. Somebody's going to catch up on it. That was the best of the best. The worst was me monkey tilting the under in the Ohio State-Georgia game to where I just was out of money at that point. It's just like, all right, here you go again. 78, nope. 79, nope. 81, just here you go again. And, of course, I lost all of that I made back from the Ohio State cover, so it didn't matter. And that was my good and bad. Aaron?
Well, mine was all bad. There was really no good that came out of this past weekend for me.
Oh, man.
Really? And I blame it all at the feet of Jim Harbaugh.
Not Tom Brady.
No, I tweeted that Jim Harbaugh should be forced to retire and open up a Bo Schembechler museum, because that's basically what he is. Only Bo Schembechler in the 70s and 80s could have fucked up more red zone trips than Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines did. That was an absolute disgrace. Yeah. They did get screwed on the one touchdown. That should have been a touchdown. The official in the booth with the crew said it's a touchdown. I don't know how the hell they reversed that. But there were so many other opportunities, including the stupid Philly special that they did on their first trip inside the red zone. It was just an abject failure, and it screwed up my whole weekend. Justin Jefferson with a no-show yesterday screwed me in fantasy. The Eagles suck, and so did the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, man.
My God.
It was all bad yesterday in terms of, quarterback play. Quarterbacks this weekend were just atrocious. I mean, I feel like it was just a tight end type of week. You look across the NFL, Isaiah Likely's putting in tight ends for people at plus 1,100. Then you got guys, I can't even pronounce his name, on Denver. I saw somebody cash a ticket on their tight end. It was at plus, I think, 1,500 for him to score. So tight end play seemed to be the hot hand around the league. In terms of college, I was able to take advantage. Spencer Rattler over 1.5 passing touchdowns for plus money. I was able to get that through. And then I was also able to get through the over in the Alabama and Kansas State in that first half. That was at 23.5. So we were able to hit that one as well. NFL wise, looking, I believe in terms of Philly, I took the first half over, but that one came a little bit short. But really, NFL was just very odd yesterday. I mean, we expected teams like Kansas City to come out and, really slap around the
I
Broncos.
blew that one,
and then,
too.
Yeah, it was just very, very odd, very Vegas-like, if you want to say.
Yeah, really. Yeah. And you talk about the Eagles quarterback and their former quarterbacks. How bad was Carson Wentz yesterday and Nick Foles before he got hurt? They were just
Ron Rivera's got
brutal.
Go.
Yeah, he does. He didn't even know that they were eliminated from the playoffs.
He's terrible. Jeff Saturday is out there. Like, why didn't they just start Ellinger?
Right.
Like, what did they see from Nick Foles that made them want to go back?
Oh, my.
Right. And normally that's like a Cliff Kingsbury move, starting David Blau. So you hope that you get fired and you get bought out, as opposed to like you have to quit or something like that. You don't keep your money. Jeff Saturdays doesn't have to worry about that.
No.
Look, the Eagles game, I think, was frustrating in the standpoint of their offense just being anemic. But I can't remember a time in which a team sacks the opposing quarterback 7 times. They have 2 receivers who essentially, I think Devontae was like 5, or maybe AJ was like 5 yards short. But 2 guys who each have 100 yards, and you only put up 10 points. and you didn't even lose the turnover battle, right?
Right. No, it was egregious. 4 straight 3-and-outs in the first half. They ran 12 plays. They never got the running game going. And then all of a sudden in the third quarter, here comes Miles Sanders ripping off chunks of yardage, play after play after play. I'm like, where the hell was that in the first quarter?
They're one of the worst run defenses, Harry, in the NFL.
Yes.
And remember the last time this happened? It was Chicago. And they're also one of – and what happened? He neglected Miles Sanders there.
Right.
Yeah, we were able to take advantage of the red rifle in that interception, so we cashed that one out. But when we're looking at the quarterbacks in this game, I mean, there was just no excuse as to why Andy Dalton should have been the best one out of the two. I mean, I think now you see the value of Jalen Hurts and, that whole narrative that people had of, oh, well, they put, a great team around him. They spent this offseason giving him the talent. He should be taking this next step. If these last few weeks don't show you that he really is a fundamental part of that offense and that his run game does stretch out the defense and really give his players an advantage, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's clear that Gardner Minshew's run threat takes away a lot from this offense.
Yeah, but okay, so here's where I don't have any patience and leeway and sympathy for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm just going to give you 2 words, all right? Brock Purdy. You literally have nobody left to draft. Like, there are no slots left to draft when Brock Purdy is taken. And look, are the Niners that much better position by position than the Philadelphia Eagles outside of the quarterback? They're a hell of a football team, but so are the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are the first team in history, fellas, to have 4 separate guys with 10-plus sacks. They have dynamic players in Brown and Smith and a tight end in Goddard. Like, come on. This team looked lost on Sunday.
You're right. I think Jalen Hurts actually went up in the MVP balloting after yesterday's game, or he should have been. And how about the first couple of times they started to run the football? They're going to the right side with no Lane Johnson up against what's his name, Cam Jordan, who dominated the game yesterday. You talk about the Eagles line. Cam Jordan had a hell of a football game too.
Boy, I think Cam Jordan passed. Didn't he set the franchise record in sacks? Marshawn Lattimore with the pick 6.
With the pick 6 in his return, yeah.
The 2 things where you knew this team was cooked, and I don't know what happens next week because I'm going to give you a stat now. We'll come back to this game. I haven't played it yet, but there were 2 things that jumped. Go back and watch the A.J. Brown. Either A.J. Brown didn't know the ball was coming or Gardner Minshew threw to the last person that you should throw to on that play. Had no idea. Neither one of those guys had any idea, or one didn't know. There was another play, too, that it made no sense. You had an offensive lineman illegally downfield on a play action. The only time that shit should happen is in an RPO when an offensive lineman makes a mistake. What the hell is an offensive lineman doing downfield on a play action unless he didn't know what the fuck was going on?
Well, right, but they did get screwed on the one play, too. What's his name? Had a beautiful pancake block, and they called holding on Dickerson.
I get that. But
that was a joke.
I understand that. And that's going to be, unfortunately, good and bad ebbs and flows of it. You're right to point it out that they got jobbed on that. But when you have an illegal man downfield on a play action where there's just no excuse for that, or an interception, pick 6, where the wide receiver looked like he was blocking, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm out. All right, let's turn the page here.
I'm excited for this Monday night game tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of action here involved in this game. The total sits at 49.5.
I was going to ask you guys about that because I feel like that's a little bit suspicious to me. I feel like they're trying to bait that down a little bit. Yeah. I even looked at the weather thinking maybe it was raining in Cincinnati. No. It's 55 degrees and cloudy over there. No wind. I don't know. What is that? That 49.5? What do you guys think about it?
It was at 50 earlier, and then it dropped to 49.5. I'm inclined to go over that.
Yeah?
Yeah, I am. I know that it's a heavy public favorite to go over on these primetime games, but I mean, look, I already played the first half field goal, locked that one in, right? But the 2 that I like in this game, I'm going to go over the 49.5, and I also am going to go over, it's at 11.5 right now on DraftKings. I'm going to go over Cincinnati's first half team total, 11.5. I think you can get 3 scoring drives from Cincinnati. You give me one of those scoring drives as a touchdown, I'm over the 11.5.
Okay, I like that. I could see that. I just think it's so easy to sit here and look at this game and say, man, how is Cincinnati an underdog at home by 1.5? You got to take the Bengals, and then that over, it just seems too easy. Like I'm almost thinking like go opposite and take Buffalo in the under.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I mean, you might as well put Bills under and maybe like Josh Allen anytime, and now you got a juicy same game parlay right there.
There you go.
I'm looking. I was taking Joe Mixon over 23.5 receiving yards. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow this game, so I'm looking at him for a couple screen passes there. 23.5 yards doesn't seem too crazy for a guy that gets a lot of his yards in the open space. And then one that I'm coming back to is just old reliable, seems to always hit in prime time with Josh Allen on the field, and that's him over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Not crazy value at -135, but I think it's just consistent enough to go back to. Tonight, I anticipate, him and Stephon Diggs looking for that type of connection. Not that I think coming from a Bengals standpoint, you would want to take Stephon Diggs away and make them beat you with everybody else. So I like him to get the passing touchdowns, but I wasn't a fan of Stephon Diggs' yards because I feel like that's going to be a big public play tonight. So I was looking potentially maybe Gabe Davis over 44.5, or even looking at somebody like Dawson Knox over 37.5.
That's who I have. I have Dawson Knox over 37.5 receiving yards. He's done it 7 times this season, and I agree with you. There's going to be a lot of focus on Diggs, as rightly so. And I'm going to go Mixon under 50.5 rushing yards. Buffalo is really good against the run. When you have Joe Burrow, I don't think you're going to mess around too much with early runs. If they're not successful, they will go away from it, and it's going to become an arms race.
It's not bad. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to fade his rushing, I would look at it. What's his receiving?
That's the one I'm taking at 23.5.
23.5. Okay, yeah. Right. I thought, I'm sorry. I thought you said P. Ryan. I apologize. So 20. Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's probably going to be correlated, but you'd probably have to go to like DK to find the alts or the non-alts. But that's a nice little same game right there where you would just fade his rushing, but tail his receiving.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. Not bad.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I did tease. You never do. Rarely, right? You never say never. But I did run a 7-point teaser, and I did incorporate a team tonight. But I don't know why I'm like fading into this background here. But I teased through 0. Are you ready for this?
Oh, no.
Yep. And I did something else. We're about to talk about college football. I teased in college football.
Wow.
Something is wrong. I don't know what it is. Something is wrong with me. But this is the teaser that I'm running for tonight. All right. So the other 3 teams involved are Jacksonville -0.5, right? So I teased the Jags down. This is a 6.5-point teaser. So the Jags are down to 0.5 point, as are Seattle, the Seahawks. They're down to 0.5 point. So these are 2 teams who need to just win to get in, right? I'm not messing with a 7-point line against Mike Vrabel with a rested defense, all that. Screw that. The other team that's now down to 0 in this is win and get in against God knows who the quarterback is, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. So now Dallas is at the money line, all right?
Right.
So this is all Week 17 action. You're fine here?
Dallas still has a chance to win the division and possibly get home field throughout if a bunch of stuff falls their way.
Correct. Minnesota loses, right?
Yep.
So I've moved Buffalo now to +4.5 for tonight. I like Cincinnati winning, but I think I can create that little piece of value where I'm just north of 3. So now I have Buffalo minus everything and also +4.5. So I have them covered through 0. It's a bad strategy that I always rip Harry for, but you know what? I'm a freaking hypocrite.
Well, a couple of trends. Cincinnati is 9-1 to the under in their last 10 games in January. And underdogs in this series are 7-2 against the number in the last 9 head-to-head matchups.
I like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, there's 2 situations that I blew it with Kansas City and Denver this past week. I don't know how Denver hung in that game. It was kind of looked like Kansas City was a little bit lackluster and just was trying to win the game and get out of there. But there's 2 more situations that involve this double-digit in-division deal that Eagles, Giants, and the Niners and the Cardinals are both laying 13.5 at home.
And you take the dog in this, right?
No, I would take the favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, 13.5.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember in 2004, the Bills and Steelers were playing a game at the end of the year. The Bills needed a win in order to get in. Bill Cowher sat everybody on Pittsburgh, and all the talking heads, whoever the Stephen A's were back then, would say, "You bet your house on the Buffalo Bills," and they would say, "Bills, Bills, Bills." Well, what happened? Bill Cowher and the Steelers, they won that game outright.
Wow.
So I'm just going to leave you with this thought for the next, before we talk about it a little bit more Wednesday and Friday when Hurts comes back and all. But if the Giants win and the Jags lose, there is without a doubt that Brian Daboll is the NFL head coach of the year. He's won 10 games. He made the playoffs, and he took a team last year that did neither.
He may have it already.
You're right, Harry. You're right. Yeah. But I'm saying there's no argument if that's the case. You're telling me that these guys aren't Matt Breida, whoever else. Matt Breida, they're not aware of this? Come on. I'm just saying. I love your trend. I'm not willing to buck it yet. But we have history. That's all I'm saying.
Who's the backup quarterback for the Giants?
Tyrod Taylor.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I'll say even more.
All right.
This is like the backup version of Teddy Bridgewater.
See, the reason I think the Denver one went against me, and I probably should have thrown it out because they fired the coach.
Yep. No, you're right.
And it was like one of those weird situations where Russell Wilson is embarrassed. He got his head coach fired. I'm going to show up today.
Back against the wall.
We're going to battle.
There were two trends that worked against that and the fact that they were humiliated. I think it's like if you lose by 40-plus points the following week, you're like really sharp against the spread because these guys have been hearing all week, you suck, you suck, you suck. Right. But to your point, when you have like a 50-3 type trend, those three are more likely outliers than not. Right. I think it was an outlier.
I think Denver was an outlier. Yeah.
All right. We got to talk about some college football here because I am super excited about two teams, and I'm already on moneyline dog opportunities. And like a fool, I teased them up. So let's talk about Harry's Tulane Green Wave. Because I'm all over him, Harry.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm on the money line, and we'll talk about the other games. But let's just start with that's my first favorite one, and I also tease them with our own Penn State squad.
Okay, no Addison for USC.
No.
Caleb Williams is going to play. He's going to give it a go with that hamstring, but who knows how invested he's really going to be in this game. Does he really want to go, balls to the wall in a game and possibly get hurt in a meaningless game for him? I don't know about that. I like Tulane plus the 2.5. There's trends that go against us.
Whoa. You're taking the points? Come on, cuz.
You want to money line it?
Yeah. Come on, cuz. I got a plus 115.
Okay.
Now, look, to be fair, I should probably get better value since they're getting 2.5, and 2 is a key number like 3 in college. But come on.
Favorites are 7-0 ATS and 11-2 straight up in the Cotton Bowl.
Really?
Yeah, so that's just one little stupid trend. Okay. And USC is 7-0 to the over this year under Riley.
Does that help or hurt Tulane if that game goes over?
They love to run the football, and they do it really well. I don't know.
Yeah. I just think USC, like Utah, is deflated. These are two teams that truly had a grasp at the playoffs. I don't think, look, Penn State, they can tell themselves all they want, but you always had two teams above you all year. You always had Ohio State. You always had Michigan. You always knew that you had these hurdles. At one point, both Utah and USC were in. I know it was earlier in the year, but I don't know. I think there's something to that where you can take advantage of that on both ends.
I don't know. I still think Utah is excited to be in the Rose Bowl. They lost last year in a very competitive situation against Ohio State. I still think the Rose Bowl means some things to Pac-12 teams. So I don't know. And Whittingham is not a type of coach that's going to allow his players to come in unmotivated. He's a hell of a football coach. I disagree with you on the lack of motivation for Utah in this situation.
I don't think it's motivation, Harry. I think that, and I think you still disagree with me. That's fair. But I think it's that. I think it's a sense of deflation. But you're right. Like the outlier could be, hey, they were there. They've got unfinished business. And all, you look over, you see Georgia win. How can you not think it should be us?
The over 53 looks juicy to me in that game.
I was looking at the over just for Utah, over 26.5, minus 128. I like that a lot. I think they're going to be able to run a lot on this Penn State defense. And I think if they get that lead, we're seeing a lot of these teams not only just go to their run offense, but they're even bringing in, the second or third string guys. They're running different types of run schemes that have been working a lot. I mean, we saw it for TCU.
Yep.
Joey Porter Jr. opted out of this game for Penn State.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the whole Arkansas thing, I need to know who's out, how much they've been playing, if they missed a chunk of games, and if the team's okay, right? But look, Joey Porter Jr. is going to be an impact player that's out. I get that.
Purdue and LSU, there's a slew of guys out. I mean, that's like
what I didn't want to touch.
Don't even look at that game. Seriously.
No, I don't want anything to do with that game at all. Do you have anything on the fourth game here? Now, this is the Mike Leach experience. Bowl. And I mean, this opened at 1. It's been bet up to 3.
No Chase Brown.
Yep.
For Illinois.
I'm locked in with this Buffalo -1, Mississippi State +8. Now, that was back on December 16th. So that Buffalo -1 was like 2 weeks ago. That's already cleared. But I need Mississippi State today +8. +8.
I think you're sitting pretty good there.
Well, you never know in these crazy-ass games.
No, I know. Underdogs are 5-0 straight up and 6-0 against the number in the last 6 bowl games from Mississippi State.
Wow.
They're a favorite, so that goes against you in that one.
Okay.
But I like Mississippi State.
But again, getting them at 8, you'd think
you'd
be okay here. Real quick on that total, I know you guys were mentioning that with the Penn State.
Yeah.
Right? That's sitting at 53 still, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
I went over.
I don't hate that. What about the Tulane USC LSU Purdue? That's the one. Like the only thing I would touch in this game might be the total and go under.
Go
over.
Okay. Well,
all the guys are hurt.
Right. Purdue is over in their last 6 bowls. They've allowed an average of 46.8 points per game in their last 6 bowl games, and they're 8-2 over the last 10 over in bowls. Are Purdue?
Man, not much defense getting played.
I don't know, man. Both quarterbacks are out. Booty, the wide receiver for LSU, is out. There's a lot of guys out. Why does that transfer
to you for more offense, though?
Just because you'd think it wouldn't.
Is this almost like these guys have nothing to lose? Like
they're just let it all hang out.
Yeah, I could say.
Hey, man, I'm in. All right.
The weather's going to be decent.
I can get over 54, it looks like right now on BetMGM. So, all right. That's what you want, Harry. That's what you got. All right. I'll post this freaking thing in here right now. All right. Let's get out of here. Anything else you want to hit before we go to Wednesday? And then we'll focus a little bit more on the NFL. We'll start our early look at the national championship game. There's some NBA tonight. I did take the Pelicans at +5.5. I don't know what's changed here outside of this belief that CJ McCollum's not going to score 40 off 11 threes. Okay. But the Sixers struggle with ISO guys, and CJ's an ISO guy. I don't know. I'll take 5. I know it's at home, but I'll take the Pelicans.
But hit the other night for you. Didn't you have the Pelicans against the Sixers over the weekend?
We did, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went 6-0 last week in NBA, so I'm coming back nice and hot this week. And honestly, I was looking at the Pelicans on the money line tonight, +138. I was looking, and the Sixers statistically give up the most points to combo guards in the league by a big margin. They average 18 a game, and that's not even telling you who is on the other side. So, it could be Smush Parker playing the one for the Pelicans, and they're potentially getting 18 tonight. So I like that one. And then in addition, I like Kyrie Irving tonight, 25+ and a Brooklyn win against the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs on a back-to-back just got Luka last night. I mean, I'm coming with a prop for him as well, but I mean, coming off of a game like that, they can't seem to hold any big scoring guards. And Greg Popovich, honestly, in that post-game press conference, he looked deflated. I felt really bad for the guy. This is the first team that he really doesn't have any talent on, so I think he's just going with the flow, and he's ready for his retirement. And then my Luka prop, Luka Doncic, 35+ in a Dallas win at +160 against the Houston Rockets tonight. He's dropped 50+ in 3 of his last 5 games. Just absolutely phenomenal performance so far from Luka, and against a team like the Rockets, who are very high-paced, not a lot of defense being played. They like to shoot a lot of threes. I really like him to be in the same spot to score again. So I'm going to be taking that one, and that's at 8:10 p.m. And then the late night game, Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers going up against the Detroit Pistons. I have him dropping 30 and a win against the Pistons. They're going to have Killian Hayes back, but that doesn't really matter to me because Damian Lillard is on his run now. Seeing that they have some momentum in the West, he wants to keep them at the top as much as he can. He's putting the team on his back through the All-Star break, and I anticipate another 30-piece performance from him.
What do you attribute that combo guard stat against the Sixers to? Is that just an indictment of James Harden?
Man, it might be.
They don't have Maxey out there either. I'm sure
that too. That definitely skews it a little bit.
Has been like spotty, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they have him playing somewhat of a 3. So, I mean, I don't know. Doc Rivers is very questionable with some of his lineups. He doesn't put his guys in the best defensive position to succeed. So I definitely think that has to do with it. And I think he relies so much on Embiid's defensive presence at the rim that he forgets about these guards, and he allows so many 3-pointers because of it.
All right.
Good stuff.
We'll be back Wednesday. Thumbs up, subscribe. You know the drill. You have a ton of information. We're going to have to recap all of this on a screen at the end of the show here because we just gave you a ton, but that's even more reason to go back and watch it again. Thumbs up, subscribe. Harry, Matt, myself, we're all on Twitter. You can see. We'll see you then.